Okay, what up? I think that the voice levels are cool.
Yeah, should be fine.
Welcome to the Oddcast. I don't have my other friends with me today. No Darren, no Uriah. This is quite a kind of a cool topic we're going to go into. For those who aren't educated on the whole rhino poaching situation, I'm sitting here with Sean Naude. What up?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, you can just talk right into that. It'll be cool.
Okay.
So, how you doing?
I'm doing very well.
You came in from when did you fly in?
Well, I took a bus down actually from Port Elizabeth, in between Port Elizabeth and Grahamstown on a farm called Shamwari Game Reserve. I originally did my training up in Mpumalanga, Limpopo.
And what sort of training do you do for that?
It was very militarized, not exactly militarized because we're not hunting people.
Yeah.
Well, we're hunting people, but we're doing it to protect the animals, not to just kill the people. It's pretty much just training where we'll walk 30 k's a day at least.
Walk 30 k's?
At least, yeah.
Inside like up and down?
Up and down, you walk the reserve, fully big five. On our reserves that I operated on, it was with fences. It wasn't in Kenya or anything like that.
Okay,
There's
cool.
no fences. So there are fences. What you'll pretty much do is you'll just check the fence every morning. You look for anything suspicious, some spoor, which is your tracks. If you see any rhino tracks, you follow it, you see how they're doing. Anything suspicious, you're also looking for meat poachers.
Meat poachers?
Meat poachers. Those are the guys who are coming in. They don't have weapons besides pungas, and then they come in with dogs. And then the dogs actually are trained. They'll come in with 4 to 7 dogs or 10 dogs.
And these are the poachers now?
These are the poachers, yeah. Hold on.
Sorry, Sean's just getting a call, guys. It's all good. So you're saying the meat... What were you talking about the dogs? I didn't get
Okay,
that.
the dogs.
So poachers bring their own dogs?
Yeah. These poachers,
What?
they train their dogs. And these dogs are so well trained, they'll only listen to their trainers. They have certain whistles, certain calls. You can try and call those dogs, they'll look straight at you and they'll run. They won't come to you.
So they're fully trained
They're
for
fully
that
trained
purpose.
dogs. They're not big dogs, but they are dogs. They're not scared of anything. They hunt in groups and they'll take down up to a buffalo. They'll go for a buffalo.
What kind of dog is it? Like a...
I don't know if you know, small little, you'd see them a lot in the townships. It's your normal township dog.
So it's kind of like a mixed breed.
It's, yeah, all your pavement specials pretty much. Something that it's easy to replace because the poachers don't care for these things. And then they'll actually hunt the animals, track it down, attack it, and then the poachers will come with pungas and stuff and hack that animal to death.
Jeepers. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you mean hack it to death as in a rhino or just other sort of meat?
The other meats, so your springbok, your buffalo, your wildebeest, your impalas.
But
that
it's
kind of
all
thing.
illegal for them to do.
It's all illegal because it's also private property.
Okay, I see.
And also,
now.
depending on some farms obviously allow hunting, but then you're paying for the animal to shoot it.
Yeah, it's like that
Yeah.
canned hunting.
Exactly. That's pretty much what they do. With rhinos, they shoot it. And then it's normally about 3 guys who will come into the farm, and then one guy will carry the rifle to kill the animal. Another guy will have a weapon to protect everyone else. So they're carrying normally AK-47s, fully automatic weapons. And then another guy will carry the tools and stuff
To
out
cut
of
the horn. Ah.
Yeah, so that will range either from chainsaws to pungas, and they'll hack it off.
So do they kill the rhino before, or do they just make it immobile?
Immobile. Look, if they shoot that animal and it's not dead yet and it's down, they'll continue to hack that horn off. We actually now have a farm, on our farm, Shamwari, there was a rhino. It was also on the news quite for a while. Her name was Hope.
Yeah.
She got shot, and then she survived. And they actually cut all the way down to her sinuses.
What? Oh, it's into the nose.
Into the nose. Like you can actually see when she breathes, like her sinuses flaring in and out. So, and she survived, and she's still surviving. She's alive, but she can never go to the wild again.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's a devastating thing to
Exactly.
happen.
And I mean, a rhino's horn is very important to them because it's not only for protection. I mean, they use it to help their calves to walk.
Oh,
so when a calf,
underneath.
when a calf falls down, they'll actually lift it up with their horn to help it to walk, and they'll balance it. So it's not just for protection. So it's very much needed.
That is such a travesty, dude. It's honestly, all I can say is what I've heard from the news and all those kind of things. But it's not really evidence. It's not a real source, and you are someone who is there. So, I'm taking it from your word. So, what's the most intense thing? Have you ever experienced anything intense here?
Well, when I was at Pro Track, I haven't caught any guys myself, but I had to help with an arrest, which was really cool. Like the other guys were called out to another farm, and then I was extra, and I was just there to help if in case the guys ran to another area where we thought they could have gone. So I was just extra there, and then once they caught the guys, I had to go and help them, just make sure, do the paperwork.
And you guys beat him up at all? Or?
Well, when we saw him, yeah, he was pretty much beat up, some nose broken.
Of course.
No, we don't let them get away with it. No,
yeah,
sure.
They should learn, but that's
exactly.
crazy. But what was that one thing you were explaining to me about how it's sort of a contradiction, the whole thing?
In what way?
In a way of the people trying to help the rhinos are the people poaching something.
Well, with most cases, it's all inside information, because in big farms you can't exactly know where the rhino is all the time. So there's people who are actually working on that farm, and they will tell the poachers, because then they'll get a little cut out of it, and then they'll tell where to find the poacher. They'll watch for the poachers, let them know where to come in, and then those poachers will shoot it. So there's actually people who are working in the same line, even the same line as me, where they'll actually help to shoot that rhino. And then you think they're actually helping, but they're not. They're in it to kill it.
So it's almost like a gang sending in one of their members to go work at the police station and basically give them info.
You could pretty much call it that, yeah. Like it's a very organized situation.
Because you were telling me the one time about the insurance. Each rhino has like some crazy amount of insurance, like 5 million.
Each farm, they'll have an insurance. So say they buy a rhino for $1 million. They'll insure that rhino for at least $1 million again. So if that rhino gets killed, that farm still gets money for that rhino. So they don't actually lose money in the end. So they don't. Some farms actually don't really care if they lose a rhino. Like Kruger, they've had hundreds of rhinos poached already, but it doesn't really affect them.
Because they get that
They're
cut
still
back.
getting the cutback because it's a government farm, and our government isn't exactly
100%.
helping us
Trust
in
me,
this.
I know. Spoke about it on the podcast before. It just seems like a battle that can't be won, though.
It can't be won. There will always be poaching. Pretty much all we can do is just try and stop it to a point, or control it to a point that the rhinos can get their numbers back.
Okay, I see.
That's pretty much all we can do.
So for you, it's a passion game.
Yeah, complete passion. I mean, I earn a small salary. It's pure passion. I do it for the love of the animals.
And you are out in Africa, though.
Africa, yeah.
So tell me about like the first time you went there, because you came from Durbanville, right?
Yes, I grew up in Klerksdorp, but don't remember anything about it. Then I lived in the city pretty much all my life. I've always loved nature and animals, and I've always when I was younger, trying to find what I should do with my life. And then finally a friend of mine told me he did this thing, and then he told me to do it, and ever since then, I started loving it. Can't do anything else.
So for you, you know everything that's going on, the contradiction of everything, but yet you're still there doing it. So it truly is a passion for you.
Completely, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, I would die for each and every one of those animals.
That's amazing. Dude, I just wish there were more people like you to have that compassion. Because I mean, if I look at the world today, I look at all the people I meet, everything is about trying to get that next buck, you know.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. No, trying to get that next money, you know. That
people
rand.
care more for money than they do for life nowadays.
And it's refreshing to be able to speak to someone who's actually on the ground there. Because you told me that the one time about how there's people on the inside.
Yeah.
And it's this whole little game back and forth.
It's a whole evil little circle that's back and forth.
So I try to explain that to people, but I try to base it all on evidence. I try to base it strictly on the real knowledge. But that's why I love podcasts, because at the end of the day, I can get someone like you on, and you can explain your side to everything that's going on. How long have you been there, though?
Well, I've been now at Shamwari for 8 months. And
Shamwari
Yeah,
Game
Shamwari
Reserve.
Game
Okay.
Reserve.
Where
it's
is
a
that?
private game reserve. It's between Grahamstown and Port Elizabeth.
Oh, so it's in South Africa.
Yeah, it's in Southern
Oh,
Africa.
I thought it was like Upper Africa.
Yeah, no, I was in Upper Africa in Limpopo. That's
Oh.
where I did my training, and then I
Okay.
did my 14 months experience in Big Five. That's where I started off.
So
And now I'm actually Shamwari is a lot more. It's a lot safer,
okay.
but it's not safe. I mean, now for these past 3 weeks before I came to have a leave.
No, it's cool. So we just got background noise. So you're saying here in South Africa it's a lot more
It's a
chill.
lot more controlled. Look, it hasn't moved because of the security in our area. It's a lot harder to do it because also it's a private reserve, so there's a lot more eyes around. There's a lot more people driving around. There's a lot more game rangers as well. So there's always someone watching.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier to control the situation. In Upper Africa, unfortunately, also the education system's worse
Exactly.
and poverty as well. So the people who are doing the poaching, they're just trying to feed their family. So if you're going to one of these guys and you're saying, I'll give you 20,000 rand to shoot a rhino, they're uneducated to know that it's endangered, it has no purpose to kill it.
Yeah.
So they're going, okay, 20,000 rand, I don't even earn 20,000 rand in a year. So I
True.
can feed my family for 2 years if I go and shoot an animal. And now they're not educated, so they don't care for these animals.
That's the thing. And that's at the end of the day when money seems to be the
Money's
end
the
goal.
source of the evil, yeah.
Well, depending on how you use it or...
Yeah, of course.
Exactly, because these guys, they'll probably only approach dudes who are uneducated.
Yeah.
Guys who need the money.
You need the money, yeah.
Fine,
And it's
just-
also a lot in Upper Africa. It's a lot worse because the guys who are doing the poaching, they're ex-soldiers, they're ex-recce soldiers. They know the bush. They know exactly what they're doing. So it's a lot more dangerous. That
And
side.
that's where, so that's why you have to, go for that training. And to,
Oh, yeah, you need
so
to
you
train.
kind of, you're trying to get to the level of the poachers
Yeah.
in order to know
To
how
be
to
the
stop
best
them.
anti-poacher, you need to think like a poacher.
That's
It's the only way you can stop them. And I mean, if you're not willing to do what a poacher's willing to do, you will never stop them.
Exactly. And I mean, you've heard of this one chick. She's got the tattoos
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
I've
So
seen
you
her.
have
Yeah,
you
yeah,
seen
I've
her?
seen her,
Have you
yeah.
actually met her?
I wish I have.
Oh, dude, she's pretty hot actually.
She is.
But she just looks like a crazy
Yeah,
fucker.
no, she
bro.
looks mean, eh?
All I've seen is some pictures. So in the beginning, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, oh no, it's just one of these people.
Another publicity
Yeah,
stunt.
dressing up and acting, trying to get fans, trying to
Yeah,
act
yeah.
like a poacher. But so
Yeah.
you know of her.
Yeah, no, I've seen her.
So
yeah.
like people actually talk. What you've seen her how?
Well, pictures, and I've seen her videos of her shooting and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And you don't really have internet out there.
Well, we have internet like on my farm where I am now, because it's you get paying guests from England and stuff,
Oh, okay,
so they
cool.
all have Wi-Fi at the lodges and stuff like that. So yeah, we have internet.
But when you were Upper Africa, that
Upper
must have
Africa,
been.
like I got deployed for 16 days at a time. No shops, no toilets, no showers. You're
Jeepers.
literally in the middle of the bush. You're sleeping in a tent or a little plastic sheet on the floor with a sleeping bag, no pillows.
You're probably taking a shit in a hole. And,
Yeah, you dig a hole, you crouch down, you take your cock there, you do your
and you
business.
probably you still have to be looking around
you
for
still-
like lions.
You
and-
go everywhere with your weapon.
Have you ever been attacked by
I've
an
been
animal?
chased a few times. I've
What?
been
What
ambushed
happened?
from elephants a few times. Lions, I haven't exactly walked into lions, but like I've walked to them and I've checked them in the bush, and you gotta go like a
Are they
cage.
huge though?
Yeah, they're much bigger than you
'Cause
see them on TV.
I've seen these lions at like the zoo, and they just look so small
They are smaller because they're also not being fed as much as what they would eat
in
the
the wild.
wild.
Okay.
They get fed, I think, they get fed more times in a week than what they would eat in a week in the wild. But in the wild, they can eat up to 15 kilos in a sitting.
15 kilos.
15 kilos.
My gosh, and only.
So when they're in a reserve or in a place where they're being fed, like in a zoo, they're only going to get fed 5 kilos. And then they'll get fed 5 kilos, but twice a week. So they're not getting the actual enough protein and food that they need.
Yeah, because in the zoo they kind of just give them one piece of meat.
Exactly.
And
They give them enough to survive, not enough to sustain them fully.
oh, that's so crazy. Sometimes I think of myself as someone who could survive out there in Africa. But okay, I shouldn't say in Africa because I live in Africa.
Yeah.
But I just live in a more, I guess, civilized area.
Educated.
But what I give you full props, dude.
Thanks, man.
And when you going back?
I leave tomorrow, actually, tomorrow morning. Early.
Tomorrow
I'm
morning.
getting on a bus. I arrive back at Shamori at like 7, and from 7 o'clock I start my 12-hour shift.
12-hour shift.
12-hour shift always.
And what does that shift entail?
If it's night shift, we'll either, if you're lucky, you get to be in a vehicle with another guy, and then you 2 people, and then you just drive around that reserve for 12 hours. You stop at certain points endangered. Like,
Smoke a bit of weed, right?
I wish.
Really? So there's no
Well,
weed?
no. Well, there is, but my job, unfortunately, they do some tests.
Why are they doing testing? You out in the middle of
Exactly.
Africa.
It's a thing that we actually need to get our minds just to relax a lot. It's what I used a lot as well. But unfortunately, some asshole ratted me out.
Okay, let me just take this back for a second. You telling me you are dealing with dangerous people all the time.
And animals.
And animals, you're taking a shit in a hole, you're sleeping on plastic covers in tents, and you can't smoke a bit of green.
Yeah, which grows naturally, and I've seen plants in the bush growing naturally, and I can't even touch it.
Wow, that is bizarre.
That's
dude.
what you get for a private reserve, unfortunately, yeah.
But it doesn't, do you know what the reason is behind it? Because to me, that seems very strange.
For these private reserves, it's a thing of you don't want it to get out to the guests and that kind of thing, that their workers are smoking weed and that kind of thing. It's more of like it's a label saying that Shamori's perfect. And you don't want your guests to know that that's going on, which is understandable. But up in the north, everyone was doing it, and
Of course.
my old manager up in the north, he knew I was smoking, and he didn't even care. I mean, he used to joke with me like, "I'm gonna test you. I'll be like, "You can test me," and he's like, "Nah, whatever. Go out."
That's bizarre, though. Okay, so this private reserve, there's obviously a lot of rules then.
Lots of politics, unfortunately. Lots and lots.
I would think that the guys who are working 12-hour shifts in the middle of the land,
You would think this minor little thing
you would be
allowed.
more. But I'm just trying to figure out, are the guests around you?
Well, we see the guests a lot, so because we also are always around the reserve, and there's always guests driving around. So if they
going on safari or whatever.
They're always going on game drives, looking at the animals and stuff. So you don't really want them to smell it or see you smoking it or that kind of thing. Although it's Africa, and everybody does it in Africa.
Everybody's busy smoking.
But
Those guests are probably
smoking too. Yeah.
Wow, man. That's... You know, I just don't understand this whole ignorance behind the weed thing. And you can see that the people who probably make these rules, they've probably never been out there.
No.
I could tell that they've probably never been out in the bush for 12 hours shitting in a hole.
No, never done it.
With no showers. And so it's easy for them to say,
yeah, you don't need to do it. Or you don't need it. That kind of thing.
That just really stresses me out, man.
You and me both. I mean, I smoke that stuff so I can sleep. I mean, I don't sleep otherwise. And that's why I started smoking. And now, I mean, you work 12-hour shifts. And I mean, if you're working a night shift and you work 12 hours, now you've got to try and sleep during the day. When it's boiling hot outside, and now you must try and sleep. And now you've got nothing to actually help you sleep.
And you guys are... Okay, I'm not like for drinking, but...
Yeah, no, I hardly drink. I mean, I haven't drank in 3 months until I got to Cape Town now, just to relax and
yeah,
stuff.
Obviously.
Because, yeah, it doesn't really help me in any way. It's lucky to have a few dopes with your friends and chill out.
But I mean, out there in the bush.
Unfortunately, as well, because of my job, I'm always on call. So if anything had to happen, even if I'm off, I have to go out. So I can't be drinking too much. Otherwise, I can't really do anything. But if I'm smoking, I still think clearly, I can still control myself. But, yeah.
I think it's just maybe they're caught up in some sort of old
It's arrogance
education.
and the lack of research that they do for themselves. They're just following everybody else's ideas and thoughts and ideals of these things.
So,
and they don't make up their own decision about it actually helps people.
Yeah, so the people who own this, they sound like Europeans or something.
No, it's just wealthy people who are too concerned about how much money the farm makes and not enough about what their staff needs and what their staff needs to do a good job.
And that is why they lost my train of thought now, but which is probably why they let all this poaching go on.
Well, they kind of just assign people like me and go, okay, here's a job, now do it. But then if something happens, we're the first people to blame. But they don't stop and think like, okay, what are we doing wrong? Why did this happen? It's not always the guys who are on the ground. I mean, yes, you get the guys who are causing the problem, but I mean, a team like I have now, we work hard and we do our best to do what we can. I mean, but it's not a question of if it will happen, it's a question of when it will happen. Because these past 3 weeks, we've seen a lot of suspicious activity, cars driving where they're not supposed to be driving, people stopping where they're not supposed to be stopping. There's always somebody watching, always.
And you guys don't have some sort of intelligence that you use, even if it's just camera phones?
Well, we have like cameras around the bush in like danger areas, like along the gates and stuff, and just to monitor anything and also monitor the rhinos' paths and stuff. And then my boss as well, he used to be a cop for 20 years, so he was in the intelligence bureau, so he's our intelligence pretty much. He'll find out the stats, he'll try and go and get intel from the guys and send somebody in and try and make friends with the poachers and then let us know if they might be coming. So I mean, we've gotten license plates of cars that we need to be looking out for. We've had tip-offs that the guys actually want to come in on our farms. So we do get intelligence, but I mean.
And how's your manpower? Like, are you guys enough people?
On my farm, we're capable of it, but we're capable of looking after it. But there's always need for more.
You see, you were telling me about how they train dogs to specifically attack specific animals and only know certain calls and things. So I'm wondering, why don't you guys do the same thing?
Well, we do have dogs. A lot of farms use dogs and stuff as well. And then, like, if they say they have a call out that there's poachers inside, they'll bring out the dogs. And then they'll send the dogs on the spot, and then you run after those dogs.
Yeah.
So they do it, but obviously now there's more. The biggest problem in this whole thing is there's not enough money going into the guys who are fighting the problem.
Of course.
That's the biggest thing.
Well, it seems like it's going definitely into the game reserve.
Yeah. No, the game reserve makes lots of money, but unfortunately the teams who are doing the anti-poaching, they're not getting enough. A lot of the people aren't getting enough training, which you need to constantly be training, because you constantly need to better yourself, because the poachers are constantly bettering themselves.
Of course, because they know we've made a mistake here.
Exactly.
We need to go back and check, rethink what's going on, go back to the drawing board. But so I just want to know your life, how it used to be before you went there now. How do you view like the world now? Because I mean, you've been taken away from all this nonsense that we go through every day, with people just talking a whole lot of nonsense and mental illness and addiction, and you've been taken away from all of this. So tell me how you have changed as a person.
Well, for one, I'm a lot happier. I mean, I used to waiter for 3 years just to get by, to pay my rent, to buy food, that kind of thing. I was angry every single day, depressed for most of the time. But I made good cash, and that's what you need to do to live in the city. You've got to do what you have to do, not do what you love to do. And now in the bush, you just really discover what life is about. It's so cool to go back to how life used to be and do things naturally, not rely on technology and other people. You rely fully on yourself. And I mean, in the end, you can only rely on yourself.
Exactly. It's one of the things I keep talking about is self. It's you alone. And this is why, for the people listening, I know I keep talking about Wim Hof and the techniques, but it's a brilliant technique. Go check it out. Anyways, now Wim Hof is this dude. He's known as the Iceman. Anyways, and he's this crazy dude who will spend like an hour in the ice.
I think I've heard of that.
Have you heard of that dude? And he talks about how human beings are so attached to the comfort.
To materialism.
to
materialistic things.
like how it used to be was people were exposed to the cold, exposed to the heat,
exactly.
and your body has to adapt to these conditions.
Exactly.
And you become stronger.
Yeah.
But now the people in cities and where I am, everybody, if it's raining just a little bit, they're
Everybody's
cold.
inside.
You
and
know?
Everybody's inside.
So you've obviously been able to adapt
Yeah.
more. You've become sort of more primal.
Yeah, completely. I mean, if it rains, I mean, we're still sitting, like, sometimes if you're not lucky and you're in a car, I mean, you sit in that rain for 12 hours and you sit there and you're shivering your ass off, you're cold, you just want to sleep, have a cup of coffee, but you can't.
He's actually got, maybe you should check it out, because he has, his method of breathing is what keeps him warm.
Yeah.
Because he says the reason for the people getting cold and stuff is because of the shallow
tense
breathing.
up.
You only breathe in there.
Yeah.
But to really breathe in, you
And you
deep
just gotta
into your
relax.
lungs. And it's go check it out. It's
I'll do
very
so.
interesting. And you could actually use it. I mean, look, dude,
it could probably help you quite a bit.
dude, the guy has climbed Mount Everest in just shorts and
What?
shoes.
That's
All the way
crazy.
to the top.
Oh.
He's taken about like 10 people up Kilimanjaro. Everybody only in shorts and barefoot.
What?
Just because of this breathing method that he
Shit.
teaches.
Okay.
So you could probably
Yeah.
benefit a lot from that. I mean, the dude, he never even wears a t-shirt. So, I mean, you could probably sit in the rain like, this is nothing to me.
Yeah.
Basically, the breathing lets you heat up your core
Yeah,
temperature.
as long as your core temperature is warm, you'll be warm.
Because they'll measure his skin. It's like almost as cold as the ice.
Okay.
But they measure his core temperature, and that is just
Hot.
so warm.
No. I
But-
mean, there's a guy I work with. He grew up in the Krugersdorp mountains and
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, when it's raining and stuff, and he's off, he'll be in little shorts, no t-shirt, and he's warm. So it shows you that your body is actually capable of handling those situations.
Your body can
You
adapt
just
to
have
anything.
to train to
dude.
it and strengthen yourself to adapt to it.
And that's why, honestly, dude, to people that don't know, this is how this podcast went down. I just came to my friend's place. We're having a bit of a braai/barbecue, and this dude, as you hear, is on his way back to the bush. And I just really think this is very educational for people who don't know what's going on.
For sure.
What is the future of the rhinos?
Well, if stats have to keep going the way they're going, they'll all be dead in the next 3 years.
3 years.
3
That's
years.
a travesty.
Yeah, because since 2012, I think in 2012 something like 700 rhinos got killed.
In
And
1
then-
year.
In 1 year. Then in 2013, I think it moved up to 1,000. And I think
In 1,000 rhinos in 1 year.
in 1 year. And I mean, last year, 2014, 1,800 rhinos were killed. So you can see the increase constantly.
That's fucking sad, dude.
And I mean, especially Kruger National Park, I mean, I would love to go and serve there one day and just go and help those guys who are on the ground. Those guys have had contacts with poachers. I mean, there's many rangers who have lost their lives protecting these animals. And Kruger National Park is getting hit incredibly hard. I mean, just this year, Kruger National has lost 770 rhinos.
Is it not maybe a case of you guys arming yourselves as well and literally just going to war with these people?
The thing is, with reserves like on what I am, because it's not government looked after, it's a private reserve, we have a lot more rules. So with us, we can only defend ourselves and actually shoot these guys if they shoot at us first. So that kind of thing, you see. And in Kruger National Park, they can get away with killing a guy just straight, and they will get away with it because they're a security force for one, and they're allowed to because that's why they are there. I mean, I think I read the stats I think 2 weeks ago, and they've already killed this year 75 poachers up in Kruger National Park.
75 poachers.
Yeah.
And is that like under the table kind of
That's
thing?
very under the table. I mean, you'd never hear about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they probably bury them in the bush.
Well, yeah.
Feed them to the
they
fucking
can get away with
lions.
it because I mean, food is food in the bush.
In the
eh?
bush,
Yeah.
it's wild, it's
Exactly,
primal.
Exactly.
There's no law there, there's no
law.
cops.
It's a law on it to its own.
So you feel that's more of your avenue?
That's the only way to stop this whole thing, is to make these poachers realize that we can do what the hell we want with them, and we
And-
can kill them because of what they are doing to this planet.
With the right funding, dude, You guys should be in arms, man. If guys are getting killed like that, if rangers are losing their lives, then it's a different story.
Exactly.
If it was just the rhinos, then maybe the powers that be could maybe stand on the side and be like, okay, check here, protect the rhinos, whatever. But when people are losing their lives, then you have to somehow retaliate. Or not. I don't want to say it's like I don't want to go fight fire with fire, but
unfortunately,
it seems like that's the only
that's the
option
path it
right
has
now.
to go to right now because of how fast the numbers of the rhinos are deteriorating. We have to put these guys down so they cannot go back and kill another rhino. It's the only way to stop it.
That's very intense, man. I mean, you heard about this thing that happened last night as well
With the
in Paris.
yeah, with 150.
What do you think of
people.
that? I mean, okay, you dealing with sort of something that's right by you, that's more real than anything else because you're in that moment of being in the bush and stuff. But I mean, when you hear things like this, what goes through your mind?
To be honest, yeah, I feel sorry for those people and for the families who have lost family members. But I mean, being an African myself, I just sit back and I think there's more than 200 people in Africa being killed every single day. But we never hear about that on the news. So why all of a sudden, because it's overseas and because it's Europeans and it's because it's whatever religion or race or whatever, it's more important than what's happening down somewhere else. I mean, we should be exposing all the shit that's going on in this planet so everybody can understand that this is actually going on everywhere and we need to start doing something to stop it. But the news is so controlled and it's written that people don't actually get to know the truth of what's going on.
And that is why speaking to someone like you, like I get a real sense of, I mean, I could feel now when you were speaking that it is true. There's people dying all the time.
Exactly.
And people, it's weird, we're in Cape Town right now, but all the news is about
overseas.
Overseas. Everything is about there and there and there, but I mean, how much? 200 people?
At least.
A day?
At least.
My gosh, that is a fuckload of people, dude.
And I mean, rangers are being killed every day up in Congo, up in Kenya. Those guys are being killed. I mean, elephants as well. I mean, it's another huge problem. I mean, they've started using like chemical warfare to mow down big ass herds of elephants. They're not shooting elephants anymore. They are literally using chemical warfare to kill these animals and kill hundreds at a time.
So when you say chemical, you mean as in like bombs?
Like literal chemical warfare, where they're poisoning these animals to death.
Wow. And what are they grabbing? The tusks?
They grab the ivory tusks, yeah.
Okay, so it's not just because I would imagine that the chemicals would completely destroy the meat.
I mean, they'll take the hair as well. Yeah, no, they leave the meat. Yeah, and then also just by killing, say, a rhino or killing an elephant and then leaving it there, now, if you've killed it with poison, now the vultures come down, they eat that meat, and now the vulture dies too. So it's a huge chain reaction of what you are, just by eliminating one little thing, you're eliminating a whole bunch of little things that make up that big thing. So it's a huge, huge chain reaction.
Man, honestly, before we started this, I did not think that I was going to get this or feel this emotional about it, but I can understand your view completely.
No.
Because here we are, I mean, and this is just coming from my side, you know, I feel for all the people in Paris and things.
For sure, yeah.
I really do. It's a travesty to just lose your life for no reason.
Exactly.
But I almost feel a bit bad that I don't even know what's going on my own continent, you know? No news outlet is talking about it. And so...
It's all swept under the rug because there's no money. So why would people nowadays care more about the money and the countries that are making money than the countries that are already in the shit? And now they just turn a blind eye and go, okay, well, they're already suffering, so just leave them. They've been going on for this long, so they're all right. But they don't actually stop and think and be like, hold on, this is getting worse and worse and worse every single day. And now it's just moving along in the world. It's getting worse everywhere, as you can see in Paris now.
So you say your future is to go to a bigger park like Kruger National Park.
Yeah, I would love that. And also I'd love to go overseas and help with the tigers, help with
What's
the wolves.
going on with the tigers?
Oh, tigers are pretty much extinct, eh? They're like done. I think there's like 2,000 tigers left.
On the whole planet?
On the whole planet.
Fuck. And tiger, that's for their skin, I'm guessing.
The skin, the teeth. I mean, also like it's a very like it's all these witch doctors and stuff saying that. I mean, you crush up a tooth and then it will get rid of cancer. Like that's the thing with a rhino horn. I mean,
nonsense.
they drink,
that's all
they
it
crush
is.
up a rhino horn and then they drink it, put in water, they drink it, and then they say it cures cancer and it stops cancer. But I mean, a rhino horn is made out of your keratin, which is your nail. But these Asian people just they'll unfortunately kill anything. And people just don't care for animal life.
Some things that the Asians, or not all of them,
not
but
all of them,
some of the. I mean, you could look in many different countries where people do bizarre things. I think the media just kind of puts Asian people out there a bit more. But so this whole thing about erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Is that a part of it?
That's also a big part of it. They say that it stops that.
And
but
it like makes you have a bigger dick or something like that?
Yeah.
Some other nonsense.
There's always a new thing that's coming up with this, but there is absolutely no scientific evidence. They've done their tests and stuff. There is no evidence to show that it helps for that. So these animals,
even cancer, as you say.
Or even cancer. I mean, the only thing they've ever proven to kill cancer cells is marijuana.
There we go. Oh wait, but that's the one thing you're prohibited from.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I want to go back onto that topic because that is.
No, it's just a whole nother upsetting topic.
I'm guessing the guys at Kruger National probably puff a bit.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's Africa.
That's a massive park, isn't it?
And yeah, no. Look, I mean, just the border from one side of the farm to the other is 280 k's.
280 k's. Oh my gosh, that is.
Yeah, that's a long walk.
So, you obviously know that there's probably thousands of diseases out there as well, where you are.
No, there's diseases, but I mean, it's all diseases that won't really affect us. Like, it affects the animals because they're a lot more sensitive to it, but their bodies also can take it. I mean, buffaloes, for one, they carry a shitload of disease, but you can go and touch that buffalo and you won't get it, but they just carry it. They won't necessarily die from it, but it does affect them.
Because I did hear that there was one time where there was a complete TB outbreak in Buffalo, and lions were getting sick because they were
the
eating
buffaloes
the buffalo.
will go to the watering hole and go and bathe themselves in the watering hole. Now other animals drink from that water, and then now the disease is now in that water. So now it affects other animals.
So, and are you telling me it's sort of a natural thing, or is it
it's
what
a
the
natural
people
thing.
have?
Look, it can with animals. They can get sick one moment and they can get healthy another. It's just it's a natural order of things in the wild. But buffaloes are just a carrier of diseases.
Because I do remember hearing that there was like buffaloes had all this TB and it was a problem. But I kind of almost look at it now like the people who are talking about these things were just trying to make money.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the buffaloes always had different diseases.
Yeah, they always had diseases and they always had the TB and stuff. Maybe it got a bit worse and too many animals were dying because of it. But it's not really something we should be worrying about.
It seems like a natural order of things.
It's a strong survive in the wild. That's how it has been and that's how it always will be.
I'm just afraid that the devastating fact of human beings on the planet,
The lack of care that people are so consumed in their own lives that they don't stop and think about others and other life forms on this planet.
Honestly, it's a heavy topic, It's almost,
you could go on for this forever.
Because
so many animals and so many things are being killed every day for some unknown reason.
And that's the thing that scares me the most, is that it's really nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all
nonsense.
It's nothing that actually works. There's no real facts.
There's actually no benefit besides putting money into someone's pocket.
And trying to get this engine going and...
No.
Because, wow, I mean, so has anybody ever died on your reserve where you are?
On the reserve I'm on now, no, but one guy actually, before I got there, they were walking through the bush, they were looking for a rhino that disappeared.
Yeah.
And unfortunately there were too many of them and they were making a bit too much noise. And one guy was unlucky and they walked into a black rhino and a calf. Ooh. And the black rhino came up from behind, stabbed him in the ribs. went through his skin on the side, through one rib, out the other, and also stabbed through his arm at the bottom. He's still working there, he's still doing it, he still loves it. But yeah, no, he was close to death at that stage.
Wow.
Yeah, so
And that thing could have gone right through his back.
It would have gone right through him if it hit him in the right place.
Those things are animals. Like, those things are beasts,
Yeah.
man.
And I mean, with a white rhino, you can literally you can walk 2 meters at a white rhino and you can clap your hands and it will bolt. It will run. It's too scared. But a black rhino, it's a whole nother story.
So you're telling me these guys are literally hacking down a type of rhino that's actually pretty scared?
Yeah. I mean, a white rhino is so scared of people, it's ridiculous. I mean, one of my jobs is if a rhino is close to a fence, a public fence, I will have to go to that, as close to that rhino as possible and chase him away from that fence. And I mean, I have no problem chasing a white rhino away because they are scared of us. They don't like us, they're scared. They can sense that we are a predator and we are to be feared. So they run. But a black rhino knows it can defend itself. And it will defend it.
So do they poach black rhinos as well?
Black rhinos have been the ones that have been poached the most.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, they've just been the ones that have been poached the most. It's just
So it's not actually the white rhinos in danger, or is it both?
it's both of them in danger. There was just more white rhinos in the beginning than black rhinos.
Okay.
So that's why the numbers have just deteriorated quicker for the black rhinos than the white rhinos.
That's wow, man. And you were saying it's the tigers, and what's the other one around the world?
Tigers, I mean wolves, and
the wolves.
Upper Africa, the gorillas.
Yes, I've heard a lot about. I actually saw some article about how primates are being destroyed by
Yeah.
people.
And they take the leather from the chest of the gorillas, they take the feet, take the eyes, they take the teeth, they take the nails.
And this is all for muti.
All for muti.
So, for the people that don't know, muti is sort of a...
So a traditional
medicine.
African medicine, natural medicine that they think works. It's got a lot to do with magic that they believe, and just pure belief. They believe so much in it that
with no
that it works.
scientific
There's
evidence.
no scientific evidence to it.
It's simply nonsense being passed from one generation to the next generation. And that's why you get a lot on the black market.
Yes.
People their kidneys will get taken and that gets sold for muti.
For muti.
Different organs for muti. I mean, I've seen many weird things like that. And I was saying the other day that people need a real re-education.
Yeah, and I mean our education system's just getting worse.
It's terrible. I mean, well, look at the president.
Oh yes, that's
You know.
saucy.
You know, so to me, it's like, what can we expect? You know.
Yeah, I mean our president, not just our president, even Zimbabwe's president, Mr. Mugabe, he sends rhinos and elephants up to China to be killed. He sends them.
What?
He sends them because he gets money.
And how does that work? As in, he sends guys in, snatch up the rhinos.
Go dart the animal, take it, put it on a plane, fly it over. Nice lakh of dollars in the Mr. Mugabe's back pocket.
Wow.
Not a word spoken about it.
I've never heard anything about that.
Zuma, I think for one of these cultural things that they did, they had a killer whale slaughtered for meat.
As in, like, a part of
Just
a
as food,
feast or something.
As a feast. So instead of slaughtering a cow, they're like, oh, what else should we have? Let's go kill a whale. They go and kill a whale.
Literally a killer whale.
A killer whale.
Wow, that just seems like
So how do you stop
taking
something?
advantage of power. Just,
Yeah,
hey, we'll
exactly.
have whale tonight.
Yeah.
Let's kill a whale. And
Exactly.
everyone can eat that.
Yeah.
Dude,
So how do you stop something that your government doesn't even care for? And yeah.
I guess you gotta just stop the government at the end of the day.
Oh, and how do we stop that?
But in personal opinion, it's to educate the people of the world or of our country or of any country to such a point that they will see through everything that's going on.
See through the bullshit that we are being fed every single day.
Because I've been talking about it a lot in this age, and which is one of the reasons why I'm doing podcasts, me and my friends. It's because these are the only kind of outlets these days that people are going to hear. This is going to get out there.
Yeah.
Your voice will now travel through, who knows how many people will now be able to hear what you've
What
just
I've had
been
to say,
saying.
yeah.
I
Let's
mean,
hope so.
and for the people that don't know, Sean works at a game reserve. He's done many different things, training wise, and many different reserves as well. So we're talking to someone here who is on ground zero.
Yeah, for sure.
And wow, it's interesting that you said about the Mugabe thing, because that has literally never been spoken of.
No, it's very quiet. It's very hush-hush. It's literally people who are in that country who try and speak up also through podcasts and through writing their own articles and then sending it through and letting other people know. It's the only way things get sent through nowadays, because the news is so...
The news is
indoctrination.
garbage.
It's
The news is
just
garbage.
It's just trying to feed us lies. So you can't rely on the news to tell us what we actually need to know, what's going on through this world.
It's weird because, I mean, think about it. I don't know if you know celebrities or anything, but people here, they'll be able to tell you a whole lot of shit about like the Kardashians and all this BS. They'll be able to give you the full
the
script.
whole life story.
But they don't even know about 200 people in Africa being
People,
killed every day.
People getting their arms chopped off because they're from another tribe. People getting decapitated. People being raped constantly every single day, just because they're from another tribe or they try and stand up for what they believe in. Now they're just being killed, and we don't hear anything about it.
Wow, that's so insane. It reminds me of this one thing I saw about elephants, and I was amazed by it. The elephants, they're so smart. You probably know how smart they
they're
are.
100%. They're part of the brain that has to do with memory is 100%.
Wow. So I watched this thing, I think it was on National Geographic or something, where they had these elephants, a herd of elephants. Is that what you call them, a herd?
You can call it a herd, yeah.
They had a herd out there, and so obviously the different tribes, like they have different dialects, different cliques or whatever. When I say cliques, I mean literally with the tongue. That's just how they speak.
How the African languages, the different cliques.
There's a lot of cliques, and each tribe or whatever will have its own certain way of doing it.
Yeah.
So what I saw was these elephants. It was amazing. These elephants were out there, and the people... I can't remember the full story. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I'm just weird like that. Sometimes I just have a brain fart. The elephants would remember the clicks of the men.
Okay.
And they would bolt as soon as they heard that click.
Okay.
But when they heard women and children, they were calm.
Oh, yeah.
So what they did is they actually did an experiment where they had a radio of the clicks.
Okay.
And they went there and they played it. And these elephants went bolting. But then they played the same dialect, just a woman and children. And they were so chill. They were even walking right by the radio and they didn't care. And I was thinking, wow.
Shit. That's
how amazing are elephants?
Exactly.
You know, they're that smart.
Such intellectual creatures.
And they got these massive ears, dude. They can hear.
They can hear a lot. Look, those things are very smart.
Hey, here they come. They're talking shit. Yeah. Let's go. That's amazing. But other than that, we've hit an hour basically.
Shit, it's gone by quick.
It's gone by quick.
Like
no, because that's how I like to. I watch a lot of podcasts myself, which is where I got the idea from, you know. Because everywhere in the world becomes this portal for information, and all the right information will sift through to the top.
You can't stop everything.
And you have probably been, you're the first guest. To be honest, you are the first guest, and I'm actually very excited about this episode because it's very educational, and I hope now people can understand what is going on.
Needs to.
And so the whole charity, that's a whole bunch of nonsense when people send money wherever.
Look, I guess, I'm sure there are charities that are helping, there are the few, but me personally, I don't think we can rely on all of them, because there's all these charities, but as someone on the ground, I don't see the money coming through. So maybe it's going somewhere else, maybe someone's just using it for something else.
And
Who really knows?
You're on the ground, so I would think that the money would go more to you guys.
Exactly, yeah.
And I don't mean as into your pockets. I mean for resources.
For resources, for extra training, for
And-
extra ammo, for better weapons, for better equipment, that kind of thing.
It just honestly feels like you got someone who's sitting there, who can see both sides, and it's almost like they've kind of put you
Weighed
guys at a
up.
disadvantage.
They've weighed us up, going, okay, it's better to be on this side than that side.
And so let's not give you guys enough resources.
Yeah.
Just give the others just a little bit more.
A little bit more to increase.
Because I mean, you're saying these guys are learning every time.
Yeah.
These poachers, they go, they come back better. They go, they come back better.
Because they know what we're doing. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing, what we're doing. They learn from what we do as well. They learn our roots. They learn our skills. They know exactly how we operate. I mean, they even go so far, if they get the right intel, to know exactly when someone's working.
What?
That's how far they can actually go. And I mean, if we don't have the right information, the right equipment, we can't compete with it.
It just seems like they are using good technology. I almost feel like...
Yeah, it's good technology, and I guess just knowing the right people and asking the right people to help them out. That's, I guess, what it comes down to.
But at the end of the day, you still say this is your passion, and
Yeah,
you'll
for sure.
fight till the death, basically.
Yeah, if I die for one of these animals, I die happy. If I know that I get to save a rhino and I died because of it, so be it.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Wow. I almost feel talking to you, I feel like I'm sort of a piece of shit, you know?
No.
There's real things going on out there. And you're really in the moment, you know? You probably know yourself more than any of these other people in their luxury cars and things.
Oh, yeah, no. I have no needs for materialistic things. I mean, I have a simple single bed in my room. I mean, I have one computer, which I just bought. I spent like a 6-month payslip on it.
Really? And the chicks out there?
There's chicks, but I mean, yes, we work so much that we don't even really get to see them.
But you were saying you hooked up with a ranger chick.
Yeah, like a ranger chick. No names.
No, you don't have to name anybody.
But yeah, no, very cool chick. Also, she's one of the rangers. She takes out students and stuff. And
Okay.
that's how I met her. She just came for a braai. So we try and. I mean, everyone on the reserve is like a whole one big family.
Yeah.
So everyone on the reserve, we know each other. We try and spend time with each other. So yeah.
It's a little community. It's its own.
It's a community of people who are like-minded and you are caring for the same thing, and you actually want to help one another and help the planet.
That's why I'm a little bit worried at the fact that the rangers are being killed in some spots.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for you guys to lose a colleague would be like to lose a brother or a sister.
No, that's what it comes down to. It's like a family.
I mean, you guys are like a little platoon, you know,
Yeah.
if you talk in army terms. Pardon, talking in army terms, so... And you guys don't get any, like, gear, like, protection?
We've all got, on my team, we've each got a weapon. We have body armor if it's needed. We have, so we have...
Okay, so you at least have that.
Yeah, at least luckily on this reserve, we are fully kitted out. So there was enough money to provide for our team.
But you say this reserve here is a lot more chilled than up Africa.
Yeah, a lot more chilled. Also, it's pretty much everywhere in Southern Africa, it's a lot more chilled because the problem hasn't escalated as far up north as it has here. I mean, up here as it has up north.
Yeah. That's... Well, all I can say is this is a great chat with you.
No, it's good.
I'm really educated, or I've really been educated now. I'm gonna go back and I'll listen to this a few times.
Lucky.
And next time you come back, we should go again. Tell me about what happened.
Hopefully some like stories to
that'll be
tell.
awesome. So
Shot, man.
thanks for that, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so that was another Oddcast. Rhino poaching. Shout out to everybody in Paris who has family members who lost their lives. But as you heard now, we've got a lot of issues here in our own country. So I just recommend everyone just start doing more research on things. Start figuring things out.
No, make up your own minds. Don't listen to everybody else.
And that way, I mean, that's the kind of education you need to be giving these tribes, you know.
Yeah.
You need to... I feel almost like you need to educate the kids.
We need to start
of
with
the
new
tribesmen,
generation, yeah.
and then they can then
Educate the
elders and tell them, "Whoa, this hold up,
Actually is wrong. Yeah.
this is not good." I mean, hacking people.
Yeah, hacking people, hacking animals for actually nothing isn't worth it. We're just ending up killing our resources to help us survive. So that's what, needs to be done.
But that's all the time we have for today. It was a one-on-one, but really good. Till next time, I'm Mikey. This is the Oddcast. That was pretty awesome. We're gonna
Yeah,
talk
shot
on.
man, it was a good talk. Lucky to be on air. Cheers.
Alright, cool. Let's go party a bit.